Wish to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It is Wednesday, November the 20th, 2024, and I will note for the record that Commissioner Lee Jones and I, Penny Githen, are present here in the room. With that, I'll ask Commissioner Jones to read our public statement.
We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to department updates. Ms. Kelly, are you with us virtually?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
So just a few updates. Wastewater detections of COVID are still decreasing, as well as emergency department visits for COVID-like illness. Flu activity across the state is minimal. In Monroe County, only 1.5% of patients visiting the emergency departments over the past week presented with flu symptoms. And our public health clinic has vaccines available for all ages. You can call 812-353-3244 for an appointment.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
I have one question. What are the ages that at which people are recommended to get the RSV vaccine?
I would actually have to look that up on the CDC website just to make sure that I'm giving you that information. So I'm happy to do that and send that to you and share that with the public next week.
Okay, great. Appreciate that.
The doctor recently told me not until after the ages.
Oh, well.
Maybe very young.
Yeah, I think under 6 months. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, thank you. And TSD, would you please promote Lisa Sawyers so that she can give an update on things related to rural? There, she's now presenter. Ms. Sawyers, you'll need to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. Chris asked me to fill in for her. Our total trip count from January through October of 2024 totaled 40,634 trips, which is up 12% from the same time frame of 2023, which is great. Of those totals, 16,110 trips were for Monroe County, which is 40% of our total trips. The urbanized area total trips were 5,241 for the same time frame, and 47% of those trips were the town of Ellettsville, and then the remaining 53% were the Monroe Commissioner trips, with how we have that divided up. On September 5th, we had our insurance renewal, which has increased for 30%. This will cause our cost per trip to increase, and I'm pretty sure that's an unknown amount at this time. That's still being worked out. We are also scheduled to have our NDOT compliance review on December 10th. And all of those documents were submitted to NDOT in October, and we're just waiting for clarification if any is needed from them on that. And then I believe Angie is planning on attending the oversight section on December 10th here at the Area 10 office with us. And that is all of my updates if you have any questions.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't, although that does sound I'm not totally sure if it's really good or bad that ridership is up so much, but I'm sure it's good for.
I'm sure it's good for the individuals the riders, since these are people going to doctor's appointments, getting groceries.
Oh, yes.
It's critical.
It's needed.
Yes.
It's the fact. Unfortunate.
Well, it's also, this speaks to our request to Ellettsville to help fund some of these programs, because these are directly individuals from Ellettsville that are making use of the. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Sawyers, for that update. That's pretty astounding.
Thank you.
Is there any other department that wishes to provide an update? Commander. Good morning.
Morning. I just wanted to give a quick update. It shouldn't take very long at all. Something positive. Anytime that we can talk about something positive, I try to take that opportunity. Every year, we do a holiday-themed meal. Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, for the inmate population. This year, I wanted to try something different. I talked to Mr. Cockrell a little bit about this, but initially what the plan was to put something together with the female population in the facility and remind them that their mothers, daughters, granddaughters, remind them that there's things at home for them, remind them there's some core values that they still hold, right, even within the facility. So specifically, I came to him, I said, hey, what do you guys think about this idea? Reach out to your family, get recipes that you would like to see us put together for a Thanksgiving meal. Anybody with traditional values understands what it's like to just get that taste of Grandma's casserole on Thanksgiving and what it means to you. But more specifically, what I wanted to do was take those meals and create one meal for the entire facility, something that goes out for everybody to eat. We got 16 recipes. They were pretty heavy on the desserts, I'm not gonna lie. I think nearly half of those recipes are desserts. But it was really meant just to remind them that there's life outside of the facility. Remind them where they come from, where they're going back. And it was nice to kind of see, you can read the messages and they have us read them and we look at them, and it's nice to see them talking to their grandma and getting that recipe. Specifically, I asked them to not only get the recipe, but what it means to them. I'm going to read a couple here. One is hot potato salad casserole, but I'm going to read what she put down. The recipe was given to me by the best grandmother any woman would be lucky to have. I cook it religiously every year, and it takes me back to a time when I spent so much time with her learning to cook. And I saw that correspondence between her grandma and her, and she showed me, and she was very proud of it. But this one I really appreciated reading. This is Grandma's stovetop green beans. Probably better than my beans, I'm not gonna lie. She said, this is one of my family favorites. We hope it will become one of yours too, which is pretty cool. We have a plan, and I talked to Jeff Cockrell as to the legality of it. We're trying to put together a recipe book. And in some way, we will get that to the public. We're working the monetary angle on it. We can't make money on things that they create inside the facility. But we're looking for a way to get it donated to a women's shelter in the community, something they really want to do. So we're going to try to figure that out. But I wanted to share that with you guys. And you can kind of see, and I wanted it in their handwriting. I'll just hold one up. But everybody's recipes here. They're pretty proud of it. I'm pretty proud of it, actually. I can't even lie. It's good to see so many people work together, especially this time of year. So my update.
Comments or questions?
It's wonderful to hear something so thoughtful being done for these people. I'm sure it's pretty bleak being in jail holidays and knowing your family is celebrating without you, and this is a way to bring a bit of that celebration to them and get kind of feeling. That's true. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
This is a brilliant, no-cost kind of thing to remind people that they are part of a community. And you know, you've educated me in various ways, and I understand that if you go back out into a community, you're much less likely to end back up in jail. And so for people to maintain the connections outside is just critical. So this, wow, kudos.
Well, and it's not something we did for them, it's something we did with them. And I think that's important, especially in corrections. You're working together, you're living together. So, thank you.
That is brilliant. Thank you. I'm going to cry here.
Oh, maybe we can get these recipes out and you can try it at home too. I'm trying grandma's casserole, I'm not going to lie.
Send it over, please. I'm cooking next week, so.
I got it in a PDF, I'll send it to everybody.
Thank you.
And you, Jeff.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Cockrell, do you have something?
Yes, I have a couple of quick announcements. One is the county did sell its general obligation. We got an interest rate of 3.75% as the low bid for that. The other is on Monday, the Convention and Visitors Commission in the process of getting the council to pay off the convention center debt by the end of the year. Part of that process is going to be a notification to the bank Monday, so I'm just kind of alerting you that we're going to go forward.
Thank you. That's great. Is there any other department with an update? Seeing none, let's move on to public comment. This is for items that are not on the agenda. We ask speakers to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Please identify yourself and let us know whether or not you're a resident of Monroe County. And that applies to anyone here in the NetU Hill Room or people who have joined us virtually. Seeing none, let's move on to approval of the minutes.
I'm sorry, I didn't bring my...
Anita, could you
Move approval of the minutes for November 13th, 2024.
I'll second that. Did you have any comments or questions?
No, I didn't.
Everything was taken care of properly. So with that, I'll call for a vote on approval of the minutes for November 13th, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, November 20th, 2024.
I'll second that. And we have our auditor, Ms. Gregory, here with us today.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. The accounts payable claims docket for November 20th, 2024 totals $1,157,540.16. This includes all emergency claims and adjustments.
I wish to make a motion to remove payment of $192 for polo shirts under the category of office supplies that were entered through the clerk's office. I've requested that they go back to the county council and have an appropriate budget line created for this, and then we can move forward on this particular claim. But I'd like to have it stricken from this week's claims.
Second.
Is there any public discussion on the amendment? See none, I'll call for a vote on the amendment to remove the $192 claim for polo shirts. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Amendment passes 2-0. Is there any public discussion or any other discussion, on the claims?
No, I don't.
Any public discussion on the claims? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on approving the claims docket for November 20th, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. I'll note for the record that we have reports from the clerk for August and October of 2024. And with that, let's move on to new business. And perhaps, Dina, would you mind bringing in Commissioner Jones's copy of the agenda, the paper copy? It's still in the office?
I have it on my computer, but thank you. Move ratification of data extraction with Isolus, name, health, fund number 1159 in the 1,500.
I'll second that. Is there any questions or concerns that you have about that particular contract? Is there any public comment or questions about this? I'm sorry, Ms. Kelly, I didn't let you present. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. This is just, this provides us with electronic access to the medical records for the Futures Family Planning patients so that we will be able to have these in electronic format rather than creating paper files.
Great, great, great. Now, is there any public comment on this item? I appreciate the fact that you're doing this. It'll help us a good bit. So with that, I'll call for a vote on the ratification of data extraction with Isolus. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 2-0. The weather change, that's what's causing all this, right? Okay, next item, please.
Move approval of a trademark agreement for Cribs for Kids, fund name, Local Public Health Services, fund number 1161, in the amount of $0.
I'll second that, and again, we have Ms. Kelly.
So this trademark license agreement essentially is going to provide us with access for all of the materials that are offered by the Cribs for Kids partnership. Our maternal and child health coordinator is working diligently to begin developing our programming. This will also allow us to be a free crib distributor and listed online on a website, as well as provide us reduce costs with like safe sleep stacks, educational materials, and so forth.
Comments or questions?
Yes, thank you for finding this. It sounds like it'll be very beneficial, and often people think that you don't really need to think too much about these things, but having good information can really make a difference.
Especially in Indiana, where we have such a high both maternal and infant death rate. I think this is a really critical program, and I really appreciate the fact that the health department found ways to do this at no cost to the county and our residents. So kudos to all of you. Really, that's wonderful. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the trademark agreement for Cribs for Kids. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of Marshall Security LLC Firewatch services for the Convention Center. Fund name, ARPA, fund number 8950, in an amount not to exceed $1,400.
Second, and we have Mr. Kreider with us.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Richard Kreider, Building and Fleet. As part of the upgrades to the HVAC equipment at the Monroe County Convention Center, multiple plumbing valves are being installed, which requires a complete drain of the plumbing system. This request is to fund Marshall Security Team in an amount not to exceed $1,400 to provide firewatch services for the building while the sprinkler system is unavailable.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Thanks for making sure it was done.
So when I read through this, it seemed that they actually have people in the building observing things.
Yes. I think it's every 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the convention center is a big investment, so this seems like a wise move.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there any other comment on this? Public comment? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on the Marshall Security LLC Fire Watch Services for the Convention Center. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Mr. Kreider, and thank you for looking out for things like this.
Yep.
Next item.
Move approval of an ARPA agreement with South Central Regional Sewer District regarding upgrades to the Steinsville sewer system. Fund number, name, ARPA, fund number 8950, in the amount of $25,000.
I'll second that, and we have Mr. Cockrell here.
Yes, this is an agreement with South Central Regional Sewer District. They approached the county as part of the ARPA planning phase. The county council and county commissioners both agreed to allocate $25,000 towards this project. I believe the project is at or near completion, so I think South Central Regional Sewer District will be pleased that this gets approved and probably claim in the next.
Fabulous. Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I'm very pleased to hear about this. It is, of course, a matter of public health, and I'm happy that we're able to help Steinsville out in this way.
I echo what Commissioner Jones said. Thank you for making this happen. Is there any public comment on this? I see someone who has their hand raised online. I'm not sure who this is. Please identify yourself.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Christopher MG from the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. I do want to support this use of ARPA funds for the sewer project, but it kind of brings up a couple issues moving forward on this, which the presentation is correct, and I forgot the gentleman's name is. They are under capacity with their sewer, and if we look at the ROI report with the need for housing and the issue with the county and the lack of sewer connection, here is our opportunity to sort of look to this particular area as a place of growth for density housing. Right now, as we heard, there's not an incentive financially to hook up to the sewer. If you're on a 1 acre lot, you're going to get the septic tank. And right now, we're greatly benefiting. You and the commissioners have done a wonderful job with the ARPA funding. But that's not going to be here next time this particular sewer needs these upgrades. You need an economy of scale. We need more customers there. So I think moving forward, let's look to get more customers hooked up to this sewer so it is closer to capacity and sort of bringing those costs where they can self-sustain the unit themselves and not look for the commissioners for future funding. I thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. MG. Is there anyone else who wishes to provide public comment on this item?
Hello, my name is Joe Davis, 30-year resident, Monroe County. Mr. Emge just points out that we need to have more customers. I don't know that we need to have more customers, but there is the potential now for more customers in the future. But we should not be moving forward recklessly, just creating situations where we're just trying to add customers to bring on fuller capacity for efficiency. Right now, what we have is a reserve that we should protect, such that we will be able to use that reserve capacity in the future responsibly. There is no need to start weakening our goals for sustainable development in Bloomington and Monroe County. We need to move forward as a community, making community decisions that are best for the community, and to move slowly through this process with as much discussion as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? certainly agree with Commissioner Jones that this is a public health issue, and I'm pleased that we were able to support the residents of Steinsville in this manner. And so with that, I'll call for a vote on the ARPA agreement with South Central Regional Sewer District regarding upgrades to the Steinsville sewer system. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the Food and Beverage Tax Fund Plan as required by Indiana Code 6-9-41-14.
Second. And Ms. Purdy or Mr. Cockrell, which of you are?
I can handle this one.
Okay.
This is a required document from the state legislature on kind of giving an update on where we're at with our food and beverage tax and its expenditures. This document has been upgraded basically to reflect the money that were spent this year, the $6,000 to support the Heritage Days for Harrodsburg, and that it also just shows the balance at the beginning of the year. I think there were some minor changes with the cost with the master planning. I think item number 1 on the next steps are phase from, I believe we raised that from $400,000 to $500,000 as an estimate of those expenditures, but otherwise it's very reflective of last year's plan.
Thank you for working on that. Comments or questions?
Just that it'll be exciting when we can actually get this moving forward.
Yes, the proposed Quarryland Park should be a real boost to local economy and should also help people understand the history of our area and what's going on here. So I really appreciate the work that everybody's done to make this possible. With that, is there any public comment on this item?
Joe Davis, representing TOP, the taxpayer objection petitioners. TOP believes that we should hold off on moving forward with this plan because just looking at last year's allocations of the assistance or prior use in 2020, COVID assistance funds went to local businesses. Okay, the people paid this tax. Why is the people's money being given to local businesses? Why is the people's money in 2021 being given to the convention center? Why are the people being taxed and then not having a say-so in where this tax goes, and especially when it goes to local businesses? This is not a tax to reward and fund local businesses. This is the people's money. And just this past CIB meeting, most recent, Mike McAfee, executive director of Visit Bloomington, Inc., told the taxpayer objection petitioners that the expansion of the convention center is designed to be a loss leader. He called it a loss leader. We all know what loss leading means at the grocery store. It's the end cap where they put sale prices on items to get you into the store and walk the aisles knowing that you're going to purchase other things that are going to be more profitable on their end. Well, why are we giving away the taxpayers' money at a loss to promote our local business? Our government was created by the people to serve the people. Our elected officials were elected by the people to serve the people. No business can vote. No business needs representation at the expense of the public. This is what you all are supposed to support. We do not need to be lost leading Monroe County into an endless cycle of debt. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a public comment? With that, I'll ask for a vote on the Food and Beverage Tax Fund Plan as required by Indiana Code 6-9-41-14. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of Aegis BLN USA Inc. agreement for construction and inspection services for Rockport Road Bridge number 308. Fund name, Rockport Road Bridge number 308. Fund number 8165 in an amount not to exceed $310,100.
A second, and we have Ms. Ridge here.
Good morning. The green agreement is for construction inspection services that's required through the federal aid process for Bridge 308 on Rockport Road. The bridge is scheduled for a letting date of 7/9/2025 at this point. Could be subject to change depending on right-of-way acquisition. The inspection services are reimbursed at 80%, and again, will not exceed the $310,100.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
No, I don't.
Any public comment? I don't have any comment either, except to say I'm glad we're upgrading the bridges in our county. Critical for people and goods to move around. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the Aegis BLN USA Inc. agreement for construction inspection services for the Rockport Road Bridge number 308. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item.
Move approval to award E&B Paving LLC Stip Road Reconstruction Project. Fund name, Stormwater, Fund number 1197, in the amount of $1,342,600.
A second, Ms. Ridge.
So sealed bids were opened publicly on October 30th, 2024. We've received 4 bids. The engineer estimate for the project was $1,324,114.36. And EMB was the lowest, most responsive, and responsible bidder. We would anticipate construction after April 1st for 2025.
Great. Comments or questions?
Yes, I have been hearing about Stip Road ever since I first became commissioner, and I think maybe before then. And that was 6 years ago. So it's pretty exciting to see it finally getting to this stage. And I would like to very much thank our MS4 coordinator, Kelsey Thetonia, for her stellar work on this.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. And also thank Ms. Rich. This has been many years in the works.
Yeah, I ditto Lee's comments also. When Kelsey came on board 4 years ago, these had been in design. And again, we had the Army Corps, a lot of people involved, a lot of entities involved in getting to this, but Kelsey saw it through. We just actually finished up the first phase of this project, which was Moore's Creek project, and we finished that about a week ago. And then we can move in and do this Stip Road, which both were in the 2015 long-range plan, but we at least, we used our local funds to do it. We did not bond for the projects, so we were proud of being able to afford it in-house and not seek elsewhere for funding. So,
These are roads that would flood and people could not get to and from their homes, and a lot of road damage occurs when that flooding. Yes, emergency vehicles can't get in and out. People are using canoes and rowboats to move back and forth.
Yeah, that was one of the decisions on priority for the project. Basically, we do have residents in the area that are displaced from their home due to the floods, can last 2 to 3 months. So that is why these projects were chosen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any public comment on this item?
Joe Davis. The taxpayer objection petitioners would like to see that the sizing of the drainways is such that it will be able to accommodate an ever-increasing amount of rainwater, event water that we're sure to have in the future, that it's sure to impact the same neighborhoods in the same way. So if there's an opportunity to size up, we should do it now while we're doing the work. So size up for the people. Thank you.
Any other public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on award E&B Paving LLC for the Stip Road Reconstruction Project. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of Resolution 2024-40, accepting the recommendations for the distribution of opioid settlement funds made by the Opioid Settlement Application Review Board. Fund name, opioid restricted and opioid unrestricted. Fund numbers 1237 and 1238 in the amount of $1,010,809.
I'll second that, and we have Ms. Turner King here to talk with us.
Good morning, Commissioners. So the Opioid Settlement Application Review Board met on last Friday, which I think was the 15th, to review applications received from community organizations and individuals for Q1 and Q2. Funding for projects that help address the opioid epidemic locally. The Application Review Board has made the recommendations included in the resolution, and I'm happy to read them if you'd like. But they are recommending distribution of $1,010,809 as outlined within the resolution.
I would very much like for you to read the amounts that are being awarded to the various groups. Thank you.
So for Q1, the awards would be Amethyst House in the amount of $185,000, Avalon Community Land Trust in the amount of $150,000, Beacon Inc. in the amount of $75,000, Bloomington Cooperative Living in the amount of $100,000, Indiana Recovery Alliance in the amount of $200,000, the Monroe County Circuit Court in the amount of $50,000, and then New Leaf New Life in the amount of $52,000, and a second New Leaf New Life, but for a different project, in the amount of $12,095. And the Q2 recommendations include Courage to Change Sober Living in the amount of $57,600, New Leaf New Life in the amount of $126,614, and Indiana Recovery Alliance, and this one's for an individual with the initials of JP in the amount of $2,500. And the individual applications are slightly different than the organizations in the sense that an individual can apply to get funding to become a peer counselor. So that's what that funding amounts for. I will note, we talked last week in depth about what constitutes a conflict of interest for the board members. We didn't have the form for them to sign at their meeting on the 15th since we just adjusted the resolution on the 13th, so we don't have their written declarations of conflict of interest, but when they were making these award amounts, they did verbally note them in the public meeting. There was one board member who was a director on the board for Beacon, one board member who's done previous contract work for some of the for some of the organizations, and then a third board member noted that through their employment with Monroe County, they have a relationship with IRA. And before we bring these back to the commissioners with this to sign the MOUs, I will have those written declarations.
Wonderful. Comments, questions?
Thank you very much to the review board and everyone who worked on this. This is another thing that we've been hearing about for a long, long time and anticipating something to come from it for a long, long time. And it's really good to see it finally happening, the money getting into the hands of the community and hopefully really making a big difference.
As a member of that review board, I want to thank the members of that newly formed board and also the county staff. Bree, our auditor, one of her people, Carly Woodruff, Aubrey DeLauders Myers, and Molly Turner King herself for all their work on this too. As the members of the group worked through the applications, it was amazing how quickly they reached consensus on how to allocate this money. It was just truly amazing to be part of that. There was a little over $1,011,000 sitting in the opioid funds right now, and so we're allocating something that brings us to almost emptying the bank on this. But I feel good about that because it's using the money in the way it was intended. Last week I attended a virtual training on recommendations for using opioid settlement funds. One of the presenters talked about the principles for the use of funds for the opioid litigation that was developed by the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. What's remarkable to me is even without knowing about these 5 principles, locally we are already using them and have been for a while, which is amazing. The first principle involved is to use money to save lives. Investing in harm reduction and recovery housing are both ways to save lives and to restore people to our community. The second principle is to use evidence to guide spending. With these grants, we are supporting programs that work. Harm reduction, drug court, supported housing, and providing scholarships to individuals who wish to become certified peer recovery coaches. But our efforts have actually gone much deeper than that. For many years, Monroe County has supported the Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, or JDAI, which focuses on preventing youth from becoming involved with the justice system. Working with the youth and their families serves as a form of prevention. And the work at the Youth Services Bureau, helping at-risk teens, is also important when it comes to prevention. Since 2017, Monroe County has hosted opioid summits and programs on substance use disorders through our Substance Use Disorder Awareness Commission, formerly the Opioid Commission. It is partially through these efforts that we have been able to involve people in recovery on how to allocate these funds. I must also mention the caring staff of our health department who've been involved every step of the way in hosting the summits and learning programs, doing community outreach, and assisting with obtaining additional grant money to combat the opioid crisis. Finally, I want to applaud the many programs in our community which are already working to provide housing, support, counseling, medication-assisted treatment, harm reduction, and prevention. Having programs in place that can be expanded with additional funds makes a tremendous difference. It also aligns with one of the recommendations of the folks at Johns Hopkins, which is to supplement what is already being done. Locally, this work is being done by a combination of professionals and people with lived experience, and I hope that this money will enhance the good work that you all are doing. From listening to folks from across the country and around Indiana, I know that Monroe County is once again leading the way in this fight to save people's lives. We have long-term programs here in our community, such as New Leaf, New Life, and our specialty courts. They've been around for decades, and these are some of the programs that we're hoping to build on. the Indiana Recovery Alliance, our own health department, Courage to Change for Sober Living. These are all existing programs that have been shown to make a difference in this endeavor. And so I am so proud to support this and what's going forward. Sorry, Ms. Turner King, to make you wait through that. But it's, as Commissioner Jones said, it's been a long time coming. Several of us have worked on this for several years, and I mean it when I say we are leading the way again. And so everybody that's been involved in that deserves a big round of applause. With that, is there any public comment on this item?
Before we get to public comment, I do want to kind of give an overview of what the next steps are. So if the commissioners approve this resolution, what will occur is that it will go to council for appropriations. I submitted on Monday agenda request to advertise the appropriations in the event that possibly we could do appropriations at the next council meeting. So if the recommendations are approved, it will go to council for appropriations, and then we will begin drafting MOUs with each of the organizations, and we'll bring the MOUs back to the commissioners. And after that final step, organizations will then be able to receive the allocated funds.
Thank you. I didn't mean to cut you off earlier.
Oh, it's okay.
Is there any public comment now on these items?
Joe Davis. The taxpayer objection petitioners have issues with the fact that there are only 5 members that are reviewing applications for the opioid funds. And it's been discussed before in these chambers that there are potential conflicts of interest that will be coming up between those 5 reviewing members and the applicants that will be addressed by that review board. So 5 is not enough. There needs to be 7 at least members to this review board such that we can make sure that no conflict of interest will be utilized or incorporated into the deciding of where these funds go and how they are responsibly allocated. Thank you very much.
Is there any other public comment on this item? As Ms. Turner King noted, these decisions were made at a public meeting, and those. So, if in the future, if the commissioners wish to expand the board, that's up to them. But I feel that the current board made a very, very good faith effort in their work. So, seeing no other individual wishing to make a public comment, at least I don't think there's one online. With that, I'll call for approval of Resolution 2024-40, accepting the recommendations for distribution of opioid settlement funds made by the Opioid Settlement Application Review Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. And again, thank you, Ms. Turner King, especially for getting this done so quickly. We have no appointments, although we certainly are looking for people to apply for various boards and commissions. Both Commissioner Jones and I last evening were at the Plan Commission, and I know that they are losing 2 of their members at the end of this year, and so we very much need folks to step up and apply for that. That is people who make recommendations on our county development ordinance and also petitions for rezones. So this is an important part of, and a very important board within our community. With that, I'll move on to announcements. There's free COVID testing available at the Monroe County Health Department at 119 West 7th Street, as well as the Monroe County Public Health Clinic located at 333 East Miller Drive. Hoosier Hills Food Bank is still accepting non-perishable food items, and I will note that they will be at the Canopy of Lights this week from Friday with a booth. Yeah, it's that fast, I know. They'll be to the east of the stage, and they'll be accepting non-perishable items and monetary donations. So please, if you have something that you can offer to help, we'd appreciate that. And now I see somebody with their hand raised. It's after the vote, but I'd like to go ahead and acknowledge Nick Voiles, let him speak, and then we'll come back to the rest of the announcements. Mr. Voiles.
Yes,
Good morning. Hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to thank you for passing this. These funds save lives. Indiana was the only state that saw a 19% decrease in opioid overdoses. This is due to stuff like this. I recently had an article with somebody, and I praised this county council for doing what a lot of people aren't doing. You guys are amazing. For the first time in my life, I have felt protected and felt listened to. That is something I don't know how to define for you guys. But those of us with substance issues who've grown up in this community are proud to have this money settling this way. And I wish you truly understood what it felt like to have your county support you. I don't know how to thank you guys for this, and I don't really know what to say. I'm kind of just speaking from the heart here, but personally, this is amazing, and I hope it continues as there's so much to do, and this will actually allow us to help keep you saving lives. So thank you very much. Yeah, I'm just kind of humbled right now by you guys. It means the world to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Voiles. One of the other things you told us last week was that opioid deaths are down in the state just in the last year by, 18 or 19%, and Monroe County accounted for 25% of that decrease. And when you think about what the population is in Monroe County related to the rest of the state, that's just phenomenal. But it's because of doing harm reduction. It's because of having nalox boxes around the county in different places. It's because of the different ways we are reaching out and providing a community, in essence. We do all kinds of things. It truly is, Penny. Yes. What?
It truly is. The synergy between county and the synergy between all of us in the social service works and you guys has been what's caused this. We are responsible between a quarter and a fifth of, or excuse me, I don't know how to do the math that well, but a quarter and a fifth of all the naloxone in Indiana. We also ship, through Ship Happens, a new acquirer of us, vastly more. And that is a footprint we did, you guys. All of you in county council and us, we did this. This was a huge part due to us saturating our county, our community, and our people with life-saving naloxone and access to treatment through harm reduction. I mean, it's just absolutely, utterly amazing. So.
Thank you. You've obviously also done a lot to educate me on what the needs are and how to interact with people. With that, we'll go on to the rest of the announcements. Monroe County CASA training will begin January 21st and will run through February 20th. The training will be on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and applications are due by January the 10th, 2025. If you want more information, please go to monroecountycasa.org or call 812-333-2272. As I said a few minutes ago, we're accepting applications for boards and commissions. Please go to co.monroe.in.us for more information or to fill out an application. We continue to hold virtual office hours via Teams. You can go to the same website, click on the calendar, and find when it's possible to speak with one of us. These are not recorded. They're just personal conversations. We'll have more blood drives coming up at Ivy Tech. The next one is Wednesday, December 11th from 1 to 6 p.m. and Friday, December 13th from 10 to 3 p.m. You can make an appointment by going to redcross.org. And as we enter the winter season and face possible heavy snowstorms, I encourage people to sign up for the Monroe County Alert Notification Systems. That's for all weather and health-related emergencies. To do that, again, go to co.monroe.in.us. And is there anything else that I have that we need to share with people that you can think of? Okay. I don't believe we have a work session. Is that correct? Okay. Fabulous. With that, we will adjourn the meeting, and we will be back here next week on Wednesday, November the 27th. See you all then. Thank you.